you ever wondered how innovators and inventors come up with great ideas and unique designs around everyday objects that we use? Or have you ever looked at an everyday household object and thought of ways to make it better? Well, guess what? Kids have great ideas too, and we want to tap into that brilliance that they have and cultivate a mindset around innovation. So, for today's topic, we're going to talk about innovation and invention, and I'm going to serve as your host. My name is James Wells, and I have the pleasure of working for Crayola. And in my role, I work with educators all across the country to bring more creative experiences in school. But for now, I'm a homeschool parent like most of you. And being a homeschool parent, I have solicited my great helper today, my son James, who will be showing you his innovation, his innovative ideas and designs a little bit later. What is innovation and how is it different from invention? Now, both are very useful in solving problems, but the key difference is innovation improves on ideas that already exist, whereas invention are ideas that's entirely new. So now, who can be an inventor or an innovator? Anyone can. You can be an innovator. Your kids can be an innovator. Now, innovators and inventors are problem finders as well as problem solvers. Now, we emphasize finding problems because before we can solve a problem, we actually have to know what the problem is, right? So now let's look at some everyday objects where problems were solved. So let's look at a cell phone, right? We know that is a new innovation that's around now. And also book lights, right? We don't have to cut on a light in a room or a lamp. We can use book lights to help read the small text in a book. How do designers and innovators come up with these ideas around everyday household objects? And what sort of thinking process do they go through? And the framework we're going to use today is called IDEA. Now, everyone has a great idea, but now we want to use a framework where we look at ideas that work. So first we want to identify the problem that's to be solved. To practice this, I've come up with some problems and ideas that I want to solve, and I put them here on this sheet of paper. One of the problems that I want to identify as a homeschool parent is, how can we help kids be better at washing their hands, meaning their hygiene around the sink, right? Eliminating germs. Next, I want to define solutions to that problem. Maybe we have a smart mirror that has a timer on it. Or maybe there's a voice command faucet where it's voice activated, where we could tell the sink to run for 30 seconds. Another solution could be the soap changes colors after a certain amount of time so that they know they've washed their hands for the appropriate amount of time, right? So the next phase is explore. So during this phase, explore, we're creating prototypes. We're exploring ideas and prototypes for that particular solution. So during my exploring phase, I began creating prototypes of what this could look like, and notice that I have more than one design around this here because, you can't just get it on the first try. So with one prototype I have, on the mirror, maybe there's a timer. On another mirror, maybe there's some apps that you can push on the mirror that says, I'm washing my hands this time, or I'm brushing my teeth. Or another design here, again, has the voice command sink, again, to solve this problem around washing hands. So these are my prototypes. And then lastly, we want to assess. So we assess the problem to see if it's a viable solution. So again, let's go through this framework again. We have we're identifying the problem, we define the solutions, we explore by creating a prototype, and then we assess to see if those ideas actually work. So now we're going to get to our assignment. What I would like for you to get for me is some supplies that you're going to work with. So here I have some colored pencils, I have crayons here that you can work with, maybe some markers. So just anything that you have around the house. Could be these objects, it could be something else. Next, what you're going to do is pull together some household objects or generate a list. I have this ladle here, I have a hammer, right? That's an everyday household object. I have a strainer here, maybe a light bulb or a fork, utensil, right? So these are some everyday household objects that you can gather here. And James, while we're explaining this assignment, James, he's going to start working on his idea of an everyday object that he uses that he can innovate around. So James, if you can go ahead and get started. So now, after you've gathered that, I want you to think about breaking up in maybe small groups or huddling up as a big family group. I want you to choose one object, one or two objects that you're going to innovate, right? So look at what's currently available to you, choose one and build on that object. What can you innovate around that particular object? Now, remember, through the innovation phase, we are improving on objects that already exist, which in this case are our household objects. Now, to improve on that, we want to create ideas that work, because once we choose our object, we're going to go through this design thinking framework. So, everybody got it? Good. Okay, so now we're going to check back in with our dear friend here, James. Now, this was a very quick sketch and design that he was coming up with here, but I think he has something that is definitely useful, not only for us at home, but for a lot of his peers around the country. So James, can you talk to us about the design that you're working on?
I'm making a disc that has more room so we can put things in it and organize it.
So he's identified and defined his problems. All right, so James here has actually created other designs, objects that he's used to using every day. Parents at home, I want to let you know that it is so important to listen to the ideas that our kids have. They're such valuable ideas, and we want to listen to them because it again cultivates this mindset around innovation and creativity, and it further lets them know that their ideas are worth sharing. So speaking of sharing, how do you display kids' work around the house, their innovative ideas, right? So maybe you have a gallery wall. Like you see here, we have a gallery wall here. And if you don't have a wall, maybe you have a refrigerator. And that's totally fine too. Our refrigerator is covered with kids' work and assignments, right? So we know that in many homes, the refrigerator is kind of the landing spot of many of these innovations. And in thinking about today's climate around social distancing, maybe you can share through email, through text messaging, through FaceTime even, right? And the whole point of all of this is we want to share these ideas to solicit feedback, to cultivate a new class of inventors and innovators that's going to take our place. I want to encourage you, as you create your designs, please post any questions that you may have about today's session in the comment section. And also post pictures of your innovations that you've done with your family and kids. We want to see that. Again, thank you so much and have a great day.